Oh god, we're already at 30 seconds. Alright. Hello everyone, and welcome to my lovely presentation for our one act next year. Now, once again, after last year, I am again pitching Declaration by Jonathan Dorff. I think it matters. So, I'm gonna just push this close. I really hope this isn't mirrored for you as it is for me, but as you can see, character details. So is there an ensemble? Yes, absolutely. Duh, of course. It's a school shooting, lots of kids. So you have your female roles here, 12 explicitly female, male roles, 3 explicitly male, and then either gender, you have 35 roles. Now, a lot of these roles are really minor, so double casting is going to be a huge thing, just like we did with Butterfly Queen and just like we did with Missoula, where we had our huge ensemble that's like everyone can be anywhere. As you can see, all roles allow for either gender except for a few. So basically, there are a few relationships. We're gonna have a lot of lesbians. I think that's a bonus. When is it not? LGBT rep. Anyway, I'm not doing a second take, so this is all going to be one thing because I'm exhausted. What's next? Oh yes, cost. Cost, very effective. It's actually not that bad. I projected it last year. Price may go up, but it's like, here's the fees. It's like $50 and stuff. Here. There you go. Now you can read it. Hope you can read backwards if it really is reflected. Neat. Okay, so now to talk about the things that actually matter and fun that aren't plot yet. So there are a few tech things to talk about with this. I'm actually gonna let you read this just a little bit first and then I'll talk about it. So here, screenshot this and then work on a mirror or something. I don't know, have fun, I don't care. So anyway, so when it comes to tech, a lot of the script actually does call for projections, but ultimately it doesn't really matter, because Jonathan Dorff actually wants any school and any class to be able to portray this, because it's something that matters a lot. I'll get into the plot later, but again, it's a school shooting, and I think it's really beautifully written, and it has a lot of really great motifs. Personally, I thought Butterfly Queen this year wasn't that well written, but we were able to do a lot with it just as a class, because we're so lucky to have so many talented actors at Hamilton, but I digress. Anyway, there are projections and stuff, but you are able to creatively get around it, and Jonathan Dorff does suggest a couple of creative visual ways to get around some things. Like, for example, you see the text messages between people, but that's typically a projection, so instead, all you have to do is have these people be like, oh, reading them out loud, or, oh, cool ways to show them all around us. Oh, I do a weird grimace every time I'm trying to make sure that everything looks fine on camera. Again, one take. This is fine. Okay, what else do I have here? Oh yeah, the one act itself is scarily realistic, and it can, the reason why it's so realistic and it's so good is you're actually allowed in the script to change names to teacher names that people would know, or change school names or district names and mascots and such. It's really quite disturbing. I get an anxiety attack sometimes reading the script. The generation we live in, ladies and gentlemen, because God knows it matters so much that we cherry pick our constitution and make sure women can't vote, but we can give Joe Blow with bad mental disorder who believes immigrants should be sent back guns. Anyway, time to get to the plot synopsis. I'm already at like 5 minutes, so we're gonna go quick. Actually, I'm probably gonna cut the first 30 seconds of my recording here, so we're probably only at 4:30. But I don't want to talk longer than I have to. Okay, so plot synopsis. Number 1, normal day. So basically all of the one act is split into a series of vignettes. So first is all of the kids, normal day, you wake up, you go and you do things, and it's like, oh, mom, shut up, mom, I'm busy, mom, I gotta do this, oh, dad, it's fine, don't worry, I'm just tired, I'll drink, whatever, you know, I'm feeling sick today, but I guess fine, you're making me go to school, ooh, that's not gonna make you guilt-ridden later, oh no. Anyway, number 2, Monica and the Pursuit of Happiness. Okay, so one of the big motifs throughout the whole show here is this girl named Monica. She's probably the closest thing to a lead that exists in the show. She's the biggest part for sure. She is giving a presentation before they all go to lunch, and you find that out at the end that this is actually happening on the same day, and this isn't just like a weird thing that's happening. But none of this is linear. None of the scenes are linear. So Monica's here and she's like giving a presentation on the Constitution, which is very topical. And she's talking about the preamble specifically. Every time we revisit her in her scenes, she's talking about a different part of the preamble's phrase of, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So first she talks about the pursuit of happiness, what it really means, how it really meant that like rich white landowners get to own land and own people because, you know, it's the 1700s. Then we go to the cafeteria text messages and this girl named Thalia. She dies. It's really sad. So the cafeteria text messages, basically all of the kids are like hiding out in the cafeteria and these text messages keep rolling in of them saying like, I'm scared, I heard gunshots, I don't know what's going on, do you know if this is a drill, is this some kind of weird prank, oh my god, I just saw someone, yeah. And then the girl named Thalia dies, it's really sad, she's in a relationship, again, lesbians. Number 4 is student, teacher, and Ariadne. So basically, I'm gonna skip a lot of these because they matter and they're important, but I also don't want to waste time. Overall, what you really need to remember is all of these mini scenes really show that in the end, we're all human, and even though we have our differences, we all deserve to live, and it's like, what does it matter? So like the student teacher scene is one of my favorites because there's this problem, I think this one's either gender, but there's this young 20-something individual who just became a student teacher for this high school, and she's really going through this in her head, and she's like, I have to sacrifice myself for you guys who I barely know, and it's kind of this ethical, moral dilemma of, I want to stay alive, but I also know I should care for all of you, even though I've only just met you a few weeks ago. Am I obligated to do this? What does it mean? It's beautiful. This whole thing's really beautiful. Anyway, I'm running out of time. What are other really good ones? Hopes and Dreams is really good. It's where all of the kids in a classroom kind of talk about what their hopes and dreams would have been if they were able to make it out of here alive, and they reenact them like, oh god, it's so pretty. It's a great opportunity for lighting too, to have some fun, even if it's just small lighting moments. It's a lot of personal connection. Another really good one, is Barricades. Basically the idea is these kids are trying to set up a barricade, and one of them has to go pee, and it's like, oh, how do you go pee in a scenario like this? And so people like, it's these small things where there's these little bits of humor in an otherwise really dark scenario. And then in the scene either right before or right after it, there's also this topic of how there's this Republican kid who is like, I wish I had my gun so I could protect you losers, or something like that. But the writing is really, really phenomenal. And it's this connection of like, hey, just because of political leanings and what we believe via gun control or whatever, like, we're all together and we're all in this together. And these lines don't really mean anything when it really only comes down to life and death. It's really sad, and I'm bumming myself out. How do we end? Let's go to good, yeah, Regrets and Pings there. Barricades is the one with the Republican kid, because he's saying, I'll barricade myself for you guys. And then Regrets and Peeing. And then there's a really big one. There's a couple really big ones that I think really matter too for us. There's one where all of the kids are in a theater and they're trying to, you know, have a normal theater class. Hits close to home again. But a big one is the bathroom scene where there's this guy who's just in the bathroom freaking out. He's in a stall and he hears somebody next to him, and they have this really great touching conversation. And then, if I remember correctly, because they don't explicitly say it, but it's hinted that the other guy in the other stall is the shooter. And he's regretting everything that he did. And he's, like, sobbing. And then we get into thoughts and prayers, and then it ends with Monica and life. And so Monica talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and so she ends with life at the very end of the whole thing, and she talks about what does it mean to live, and what does it mean to be alive, and how we're all connected, and how beautiful it is. And then they end that with, all right, let's all go to lunch, and that's when, if you remember at the cafeteria scene, that's when everything started. So it literally happened right before where she talked about all this. Yeah. And then there's the thoughts and prayers scene that comes right before it. That's everyone pretty much making fun of the fact that, oh yeah, these thoughts and prayers are gonna heal my wounds. I'm gonna have stitches with these thoughts and prayers. I can stitch myself up with them. I can make sure my friend stops bleeding out with your thoughts and prayers. It's a really good show. I think we should really do it. I think we take it. I think we could handle it. Nothing is ever, you don't ever explicitly see the gun or anything like that, so it's all just implied, and it's never glorifying the person who did this, like some TV shows and other stuff like that. Like, you don't get that glorification of all these dark themes. Instead, you get the human element on the other side, and I think that's really beautiful.